My name is Adam Schaeuble. I am a professional podcaster, and today I'm going to teach you how to monetize a health podcast without sponsors. I've been in the podcasting space since 2015. I launched my very first show. It's called The Million Pound Mission, and I started that because I was a gym owner. I had a fitness facility in Bloomington, Indiana, and pretty successful, and people wanted me to franchise it, but I'm not really into being the boss of lots and lots of people. So instead, I said, I'd like to grow the brand, grow the impact. I listen to podcasts. Let's do this podcasting thing. So I dove in at 2015, and the Million Pound Mission was a great success. Then I launched a second health podcast with two people you may know, the Keto Savage, Robert Sykes, as I call him, Ravishing Robert Sykes. And then I've got my friend, Delicious Danny Vega, and we started the Low Carb Hustle podcast, another successful podcast in the space. And that one's actually still going. I sold that one a couple of years ago to a guy named Nate Palmer. So if you want a really cool low carb based podcast, check out Low Carb Hustle with Nate. And you can even listen to some of the way back episodes with me and Danny and Robert on there, having some fun. So in 2019, I sold my gym. And what was happening was I was having health podcasters seeing the types of results I was able to produce from a business perspective. They saw I launched a membership. They saw I was selling online courses. I was monetizing effectively, and they go, hey, could you teach me how to do what you're doing? Because I want this extra revenue stream via a podcast, and I see your brand growing. The first time I realized my brand was like growing was when I got recognized at Disney World, at like the restaurant in Disney World. I'm from Indiana, so that was a big deal. My son was like, Dad, are you famous? I'm like, I think this is evidence, son. Pretty sure I am at this point. I'm steakhouse famous, all right? But that was pretty cool. And I sold my health podcast, went full-time, and I created a show called Podcasting Business School, and that is the only podcast I have active right now. Let me see, I got a slide here. Boom, right there, 364 episodes and counting as of today. So what I do with Podcasting Business School is I help podcasters or those that are pod curious, thinking about it. I call you podcrastinators, all right? I've had this idea for like a year, and I've been thinking about launching it. Those are podcrastinators. We're gonna overcome that today. But I love to work with service providers specifically. I really love that. So if you're a coach, if you are a consultant, if you sell books, if you're a speaker, if you have a brand, or if you want to create a brand and then you want to grow it, I believe podcasting is a unique opportunity, and it's completely changed my life, all right? I went from working 1 million hours a day with my gym, all right, to leveraging podcasting. I work 3 days per week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and I pay myself way more than I ever did as a gym owner. As a gym owner, I worked myself into the hospital 3 times. Anxiety attacks, I fell asleep while I was driving, scary stuff. Now I work 3 days a week. I'm coaching my son's basketball teams. I make them all their carnivore keto meals. I'm picking them up from school. I'm taking them to school. I'm doing date nights. I'm doing all the things, all right? And it's because of the ability that podcasting has given me from a business perspective. So today, I'm going to teach you some strategies on how you can increase your business, make more sales, and convert your audience into super fans and super fans into your very best clients. Sound cool? All right, outstanding. And I only have like 6 slides, y'all, so I'm going to have lots of time for Q&A at the end. I'll just, whatever podcasting questions you've got, I'll hammer it out, okay? All right, so the strategy is perfect for people who sell coaching, consulting, online courses, paid workshops, challenges, boot camps, live events, memberships. Anybody want to get into that area? Are you like, I want to sell some stuff? All right, cool. If they're like an online health coach space, this strategy is perfect for you. I'm going to put money in your pocket right away. All right, step number 1. I believe in releasing weekly content, no breaks. All right, some of these podcasts are like, well, we did 7 episodes. I'm going to take a little breather here, a couple months, maybe 3 or 4. And when I get in my clients' faces about this, and I do, I'm like, are you the news or are you Netflix? Because there's a big difference, right? My parents are darn near 80 years old, and I'll use them as an example. So they have their news show that they watch religiously, same day, same time. Every time it comes on, they sit in the same chairs while they watch the same news show, and they will show up. But if that news show just takes a break, they're going to find a different news show. Netflix, they get in there and there's some good series or whatever. It's more entertainment based. They'll go series to series. They'll come back. Like when the new thing on Walking Dead comes out, like they'll come back to that. So if you are an entertainment-based show, like a true crime audio drama or whatever, you can get away with taking breaks. If you're in education, like the news is supposed to be, all right? If you're in education, you have to show up every week because one of the unique podcasting superpowers, think about it, who here listens to podcasts? Who here has like a show that they like never miss, never ever miss? I'm always on it, all right? So when you have a podcast that's your favorite one, you listen to it on a specific day at a specific time while you do a specific thing. So I release episodes on Tuesdays and Fridays. So I know people that are super into my show, like new episode comes out on Tuesday, I'll listen to it on Tuesdays when I'm doing my morning workout or while I'm driving my kids to school or on my commute home from work. If I take a week off, somebody else gets that real estate, and I may not get it back. So if you are going to build your brand and do it correctly, we want to become that piece of media in their life routine, and we don't want to give it up. So we got to put weekly content out. Is that making sense? All right. And these don't have to be long, like 3-hour-long Joe Rogan episodes. All right? Like 10-minute episodes. Give me a 5-minute tip. Take a 30-minute interview and break it up into 2 parts, part A, part B. Now you have 2 weeks of content. This isn't rocket science. We just have to get over I really need to take a break, man. Like this is really a lot of content. All right, if you want to build your brand, we got to get weekly episodes. All right, step number 2, start doing solo episodes. Did you guys notice what my shirt says? Go to yourmomsubscribes.com if you want to pick one up for yourself. Shameless promotion. All right, so start doing solo episodes. I think the number one mistake that podcasters make when they are trying to sell their own programs, products, and services is that they do interviews. All right, if you only do interviews and we're trying to paint a picture of expert positioning for you, there is none. You are interviewing the expert. You are not the expert. So why would anybody want to buy anything from you? I've got a client that came to me. She came running to me. She's like, Adam, I had this big name person on my show. She kind of does the same thing as me. And then I had like 5 people reach out to me to get her information because they want to buy her thing. And it's the same thing as what I do. And she's freaking out. I go, this is why. Like we need to do solo episodes. All right. So I've got a rule that is now known in the podcasting space as Adam's rule of 2/3. I want 2/3 of your content to feature you as the expert. So if you release 1 episode a week, week 1 is hopefully a solo episode. Week 2, maybe a coaching style episode. We'll get into that in a minute. Week 3, you can kick out an interview. Cool. But if you have 2/3 of your content featuring you as the expert, you're going to have a lot easier time kicking out content. You're not chasing people down for interviews. You're not, stressing out about, can I get a headshot and like all this other stuff and scheduling. You can sit down and knock out solo episodes. I've got a client. She's in the coaching space. She records for 1 hour per week, and she does 4 15-minute episodes. Done for the month. All right? So it's a very powerful thing with the solo episodes. Start doing coaching style episodes. So on my show, if you guys hit that subscribe button on Apple Podcasts or Spotify for Podcasting Business School, I highly recommend it. You'll notice every Friday, so today, I released episode 364. It's a podcast audit episode. So I do live coaching on my show. And let me give you a freaky stat. 80% of people that sit in that chair hire me. 80%. And I'm not talking about $5 things. I'm talking about $2,000 or above ticket items. All right? That's the power of a coaching style episode. And it didn't just happen automatically. I've done over 100 coaching style episodes on my show, and it kind of built up. There's a snowballing effect. So when I first started doing it, it's great expert positioning. I get to think on my feet. I don't have to really do any prep. I invite people on. I'm like, what is your number one podcasting pain point? They tell me, I can't grow my audience, so I'm not monetizing. I need some SEO help or rebranding. We just focus on that for 30 minutes. I show them what I can do. That's the appetizer. And usually by the end of it, they're going, hey, I need some more help with this. Can we talk? Cool, let's have a chat. And they hire me. Now, it didn't happen again right off the bat, but here's the thing. People start binge listening on my show, and they are listening to the dozens, if not more, of me, episodes of me with me doing coaching and seeing me solve problems of people that are just like them, answering questions that they resonate with. And then they sign up for a podcast audit. It's gotten so effective that I have to tell people ahead of time, I'm like, hey, I don't know if you're considering hiring me or not, but please don't mention it when we're recording because it kind of makes it weird, all right? Like I literally had people like in the middle of our interview going, hey, so like which program should I do and all this. I'm like, this isn't a sales call, it's a podcast episode. And I have to like pump their brakes and tell them, I'll get your credit card after the thing, so just shut up about it for now. Like I don't do sales calls, all right? I just show off what I can do. I'm passionate about helping people. I help people and help people and help people. I've got a sales technique that I call friending people into submission, all right? I get out a big bucket of friendship and I just dump it on. Like if any of you want to hang out and ask questions afterwards, boom, here comes the friendship bucket. Look out, it's coming at you, all right? I love talking about this stuff because it's changed my life, all right? It's changed the way I'm able to parent and be a husband and a friend. So I'm here, I got your back. So coaching style episodes are huge for expert positioning. They will help you convert your listeners, your casual listeners into super fans into your best clients. Making sense so far? Simple formula. All right, I already talked about this one, the 2/3 content rule. So again, quickly in review, if you're going to release a weekly episode, 1 week should be solo, another one could be a coaching style episode, then we can sneak in those interviews. I'm not hating on interviews at all, but we shouldn't only do interviews. That's the issue. Making sense? All right. Now, if we are going to do an interview, I tell my clients, I'm like, what is in it for you with this interview? Do you want to just be connected to this person? I interviewed Gretchen Rubin. Has anybody read any of Gretchen Rubin's books? Like, I fangirled out on Gretchen Rubin hardcore. Like, she is awesome. I buy all of her books. Michael Hyatt, another author that I just freaking love. And I got to talk to them for like an hour. And I could just ask him whatever I want. It's super cool, right? Access. I had Michael Hyatt talking about playing his Native American flute and dancing around in his underwear and stuff. And I was like, this is awesome. So Michael Hyatt is like straight-laced, well-polished guy. And I got him talking about some weird stuff. But like access, that can be a reason why you do an interview. But also you have to think, maybe there's a potential collaboration. Maybe there's a business partnership. Maybe you want to be affiliate for their program. They should be an affiliate for your program. Maybe you want to speak at their event, all right? Maybe you just want to develop a relationship or a friendship and see where it goes. So always be thinking about that. Once you launch a show, you will start getting hit up by podcast PR agencies where people want their clients launching a book and they pay them a bunch of money to get them on podcasts. And it is crazy. And the funny thing is, they don't even know who they're talking to half the time. I did a whole Instagram story series a couple of weeks ago of somebody that was calling me Amanda. And they're like, dear Amanda, my client is perfect for your show. And I'm like, we're off to a bad start already because you don't even know who I am, and you're calling me Amanda. But I just let the reply be like, Amanda, why are you not replying to my emails? And I was just like screenshotting and doing Instagram reels. So don't feel pressure. Don't feel pressure to have everybody on your show if you do accept interviews. A lot of newer podcasters start stressing out, I'm going to run out of content. So there's like, anything goes. I'll have, whatever, all comers. And we don't have to do that. So I just want to put that public service announcement out there. All right. There's my modeling picture. Step number 5, align your content with your sales campaign. So let's say you've got a new program release. You've got a 21-day intermittent fasting keto detox or something like that. It sounds like something that y'all would sell, right? So we've got that coming up. What you want to do is go, all right, I've got my expert positioning happening with my show. I'm doing my coaching style episodes. With your solo episodes, let's say your launch date is going to be on August 1st. So that month of July leading up, I want you to have 3 or 4 solo episodes where you're touching on the topics that are going to really perk up the ears of your ideal clients for whatever it is that you're launching. All right, so maybe you spend a little bit of time on intermittent fasting. You kind of give them the appetizers, and you start dropping these episodes that they're like, ooh, I need to come in and start paying attention. Because, sometimes people don't get obsessed with your show, and we got to pull them in a little bit closer and really give them some hot button topics. Is that making sense? All right, so we're dropping 3 to 4 weeks of episodes that are very specific content that are related directly to what it is that you're trying to sell. Now, a lot of times with my business, I'll have a funnel where I'll do like a free challenge first before I try to sell anything, because I like to kind of actually work with people first. So it'd be more based off of promoting the free challenge and the topics that are going to be covered in that, all right? So aligning your content with your sales campaigns, huge, 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 all right? This is really going to work well. So those are the 5 tips. That's my simple 5-step strategy, all right? So real quick, I know I kept it super simple. I did that on purpose. So release weekly content, no breaks. Start doing solo episodes. Start doing coaching episodes. Follow the 2/3 content rule. Align your content with your sales campaigns, and you're going to start making money, all right? Like, this is a program that I put together, a system that I put together that was the reason why I was able to replace my income as a gym owner, sell everything, and just go full-time and work 3 days a week, all right? It's crazy how effective this is. You just have to put in reps in doing just this. Now, opportunities to hang out. That's my second grade daughter, Hannah, right there. I put her in to draw your attention to all the places you can connect to me, a little attractor beam there. So I do a lot of giving in the podcast community. I've got a Pod Pal Zoom party once per month. If you guys want to come and hang out with me, you can come do a Pod Pal Zoom party. I invite my listeners to come on the show. We create content together, and that is released as an episode of Podcasting Business School. I do podcast audit episodes. There is about an 8-week wait list on that. They're very popular, and people are waiting to get in. I go live on IG at Podcasting Business School. Definitely give me a follow there. I would love to connect there. 6:30 every single Tuesday night. The number one overall brand building and growth mistake in podcasting is people's names are terrible for their show. All right? Like, terrible. I could call my show The Awesome Adam Show. Nobody knows who that is, right? No, I could put a big old picture of my face on the art. Nobody knows who this big, bald, big old white boy is, right? So that's something we have to really take into account. So like a good podcast name, I want to know what it's about, who it's for. XYZ tips for millennials. Intermittent fasting tips for 40-plus females. That's a great podcast name. I want keywords. I want identifying terms. Do not get creative and cute with the name. All right? That is a huge mistake, and it will be the number one reason why you don't make any money and no one hears your show. Legit. Hopefully I just put the fear in you a little bit there. All right? Rebranding is no big deal. It is one of the easiest things to do. I make a lot of money with rebranding. People hire me because I'm good at that sort of thing. So we got to know the name. The art is super important. It's like a fishing lure. All your search engine optimization works. The right people are in front of your information. All of a sudden, they search ketogenic diet tips or intermittent fasting tips, and your show pulls up. But your art of your podcast has a big old picture of your face. Well, what does that even mean? I don't put people's faces on their show art, because it's on somebody's iPhone that's this big, and there's 20 other. This is a fishing lure, so we have to put something on there that resonates and have a specific formula. Like if keto is in the name, which if you're in that space, keto is a great word to have in your podcast title. Carnivore, same thing. Weight loss, diet tips, things like that, great keywords. But I want to highlight that word. I want it a different color, a different font, real thick. People use this little script, cursive font, and you can't see that on a phone when there's 20 other images on there. So big, thick, League Spartan. League Spartan is my favorite font. All right, just make a mental note of that. It's big and thick and curvy, and it shows up really well when it's on that little phone screen. I would love to open it up for open podcasting Q&A. So it could be anything. It could be about making money. It could be about launching the show, naming the show. If you think you've got a name and you're like, let's play a little game called Adam Tells You to Change the Name of Your Podcast. All right, so I do this on Instagram all the time. I'll be like, post the name of the show in the comments. And I'm like, another one needs to change the name. And it's not always like, and I'm not going to be mean about it, all right? But a lot of times we just need to tweak it or add to it or something like that. So, yes, I would love to open it up. Yes, sir. Great question. Is equipment critical to start? I've recorded between all 3 of my shows, I've recorded almost 1,000 episodes on a $97 microphone. All right? Go to Amazon. There's a little something called an ATR ATR 2100. That's the mic that I use. It looks a lot like this. And a lot of people hate on it because it looks like a karaoke mic and not like Joe Rogan podcast, big silver, like giant, shiny mic. I don't care about that. It doesn't look like that thing on the screen there. So $97 microphone, that'll get you a long way. All right. You can do, I got a $200 Logitech little camera, works good. Soundproofing is hilarious. I got a lot of clients that are literally in their closet because it's like you don't want hard surfaces. Hard, flat surfaces are the enemy of podcasting because it gets echoey. Soft curves, shapes, go where there's a couch, pillows, put pillows all over the ground. I have one of those arm extender laundry hanger things. You know what I'm talking about? I'll put that and put laundry on it and like put it right over where I'm getting ready to talk into, facing my desk, and it works great. All right, so you can rig things together, but if you have a couple $100, you're ready to podcast. All right, like you just don't need a lot of equipment. You don't need a lot of fancy microphones, cameras, soundproofing, any of that. Is that helpful? Got to go for it. And honestly, I only got a new laptop last year. Otherwise, I've recorded all my episodes on a 2009 MacBook Air. So that thing lasted, too. I wore off all the keys. Like, you couldn't even tell what letters were on the keys anymore. Yeah, GarageBand, yeah. And I'm going to get to you in a second, but just like pricing-wise, I spend $20 a month in a program called StreamYard, which is where I live stream to YouTube and LinkedIn and Facebook, and I pull the audio and video for highlight clips, so about $20 a month there. I spend about $25 a month on a program called Libsyn, Libsyn, which is the host. That's where you record the audio, and that's where it needs to go. That's the distribution channel, and they send it to Spotify, and they send it to Apple. So they're kind of the distribution channel. Less than $100 a month. So a lot of people think they got to go buy a microphone that looks like that and spend $1,000. I'm like, spend $100 on that, and then hire somebody with the other $900 to help you out with all this stuff. All right, back row, and then we'll come to you. With my Million Pound Mission podcast, I had a very successful membership. And I was selling a health membership at $97 a month, which is higher than a lot of people are like $50 or below. You'll hear that in the health space. You can't have a membership in the health space, more than $50 a month, people won't buy it. I was selling at $97 a month, all right? And what I was doing coaching style episodes with current clients. So it was almost like a giant testimonial episode. And I was 15 minutes. I would go, all right, what's your number one pain point right now? It'd be like nighttime snacking, or my husband's an idiot and he eats fried chicken in front of me every day, or something like that. And I gotta do my thing. And it just showed off my coaching, but it also, we would heavily promote, they were in my membership. And that's why they got this one-on-one access. And a lot of people get nervous, like, oh, people won't want to come on a podcast and share their stories. I never had that problem. And if they did, you can go, hey, we'll go first names only, camera off, audio only, whatever. But I never had that problem. No, they're fired up to get on it, to get that free coaching. They get that bonus time with you. So that's one option. And at the end, I'm like, and this is a member of my blah, blah, blah membership, and that's why they got to come on. So you kind of like sponsor that episode with that information. Now, another thing you could do is like a lifestyle audit and go, all right. So the way I typically flow out my podcast audits, I go, all right, 6 months from today, you and I are sitting down here having the same conversation. I gave you some brilliant advice today. Everything's going great. Paint that picture for me. 6 months from now, what does perfect look like? And I'll have them paint that. All right. Then I go, all right, what is the number one thing right now? What's the pain point that's keeping you from moving in that direction? And that's what we focus on. Simple. Cool? They're fun. It's ELF. ELF. Easy, lucrative, fun. You don't want HALF. That's hard, annoying, lame, frustrating. We don't want that kind of a show. All right? All right, yes. Heck yeah. All right, so selling your own stuff with what's called a CTA, a call to action on your own show, where a lot of people that have sponsors at the beginning, you go to Rogan, it's like 29 things and before a show even starts. MeUndies and whatever. So I don't do sponsors because I can make way, way more money selling my own programs, products, and services. I was like, why am I doing a Four Sigmatic sponsorship, getting 5 cents every sale when I can be selling $2,000 coaching programs? And it took me like 3 years to figure this out because I'm not that smart. All right, so that was very disappointing. But now it started to work out pretty well. I like doing calls to action. My CTA rules are pick one and only one. Don't CTA throw up. Again, CTA is call to action. Do not be a CTA puker on your podcast where you're like, and follow me on the gram, and then here's my Pinterest, and here's my mom's address, write her a letter, and then all the, buy my thing, buy this other thing, join my email list. You do all that, and they don't do anything. One call to action, beginning and end. I like to do that for 8 weeks. Now, this could be a thing that you're selling. It could be a free thing. I tend to do free things. I'm like, if I can pull them into my world a little bit closer, so I might talk about podcast audits. Come on the show for a podcast audit. Intro, outro, and we have kind of people fired up about that for 8 weeks. It's a nice little focus point. I talk about it on my social media, my email marketing, and we get people fired up and into that. I build relationships, and that is a much easier, I don't have to have sales conversations at that point. People are kind of throwing their credit card at me, which I like. So it could be up to you, whatever you want to do. But I would do one minimum 4 weeks, and it's hard. A lot of people are like, but I have all the things, Adam. I want to sell all the things. Danny Vega. Do you guys all know Danny? So I was bummed that he couldn't make it today, but Danny's one of my best friends, and I make fun of him about his website. So I'm like, Danny, there are 49 things on there that you are trying to sell. I'm like, you have entrepreneur ADD. So he's like, bro, I know, man. I know, bro. So we don't want to be, you want to have arms like Danny Vega. You don't want to have a website like Danny Vega, all right? So that is, the CTA speech. Yes, go for it. Yeah, Libsyn is kind of an OG in the podcasting space. That's why there's a lot of great platforms. I've had great results with it, and recently I've done some upgrades. So, Original Gangsta. So they've been in the podcasting space. You're from the Midwest. It's all right, So there we go. So that's the quote of the day, Dr. Boz. So I've used Libsyn because I trust them. They've been around the longest, and they do have analytics. So you'll be able to see, like, I can see all the countries that all my people are listening in from. I'm like, shout out Germany, more people there, or whatever, which is pretty cool. You get individual download stats. Let me bust an analytic number for you to shoot for. I'm going to give you 2 goals that I love telling this to newer podcasters because we hear all the big numbers, and we hear like, oh, man, so my friend, he says he got 1 million downloads already, and you kind of get in your head about it. So I'm going to give you 2 stats on real download numbers. And, podcasters tend to lie about the numbers. Let me just tell you that first, because they're trying to be impressive to their friends or whatever. So the first number, if I release an episode today, 30 days from today, if it has 125 listens or downloads, so people downloaded it and listened to it, 125, 125. It's a top 50% podcast, better than half of the podcasts that exist. 125 downloads, 125. But think about it. What if you could summon 125 people in a room like this anytime that you wanted? It'd be pretty badass, right? And I don't even have to wear pants. 125 downloads puts you in the top 50% of all podcasts that exist. All right? So many people get in their head because they're like, Adam, I'm only doing 50 downloads. I'm like, you've been doing this for a month, and you're already halfway to that first benchmark. Good thing. Good deal. So I tell these real numbers to give people like you all hope, because you need to know these real numbers. Podcasting is not easy. It's not like TikTok. You do not go viral in podcasting. If you're Will Ferrell famous, you slap your name or your face on the thing and you're #1 show. All right? That doesn't work for people like me. I started with 0 Instagram followers, 0 email list, 0 listeners. I built it up. Now, I don't like saying stuff like this, but I'll say it. I've got the most downloaded podcast about podcasting in the whole damn thing. Because I've been told by the people at Libsyn, like the hosts and stuff. So that's what they told me. So maybe it's not true, but that's what they told me. So $20 a month. So the second stat at that 30-day mark is 1,000 downloads. 1,000 true fans. We'll hear about that a lot, right? What do you think? If you get 1,000 downloads per episode, what percentage are you in? 1%. So smaller is better. That's not like the top 20%. All right? 30 days. We measure it 30 days post-release. And that's consistently every episode. So if you're like, okay, I've released 20 episodes, all of them are now hitting 1,000 downloads per episode at the 30-day post-release, top 20% podcast. Let me tell you, I see businesses go like this at that 500 to 1,000 download mark, especially in the health space. You get that tribe, you get that band of super fans out there. Imagine like a room like this filled with 500. That's like, we got to move out of this room and go downstairs for 500 people. Anytime you want, flip on the mic, talk to them. It's like Vanilla Ice. Turn on the mic and I glow. I quoted Vanilla Ice today. Yes, yes. Oh, I love these questions. All right, engagement. This is one of the biggest reasons why podcasters quit. 80% of podcasts that launch do not get past 10 episodes. Why? Because it's hard and they're hearing crickets. Like, wait, Adam, I've released 10 episodes and I'm not quite famous yet. You know, autograph hounds aren't chasing me. I'm not having underwear companies chasing me to sponsor my show. What gives? We think we can put content out there and just sit back and the engagement comes to us. I challenge podcasters that are brand builders and that are like starting at zero, like I did. We have to go out and initiate engagement. All right? So, here's what will happen. I challenge any of you to follow me on Instagram, at Podcasting Business School. What will happen, I don't use bots, all right? A lot of you get the little, thank you for following this account, or you reply, and it's just super annoying, all right? The only AI I use is Atom Intelligence. There's not that much of that, all right? So what I do, if you follow me, you're going to get a voice message from me in the next few days. It's going to be like, hey, what's up? It's Adam from Podcasting Business School. Just want to say thank you for following me on Instagram. It really means a lot to me that you took the time to check out what I have going on here. If you're new to podcasting, let me know what your top podcasting question is. If not, definitely check out the latest episode. It's about blah, blah, blah. I'll kick it in the next message. I will spend a minute, I'll spend 60 seconds with all of you sending a message just to you. That is me initiating engagement. Any of you can do this, whether you do a podcast or not. Watch what happens. Go to the last 10 people that followed you on whatever social media platform, but send them a voice message. You can do it across the board because, you can't have a 15-year-old Filipino VA do this for you for $1 an hour, right? Some people are doing that. Write it in my language or AI or a bot or whatever. But funny, Dr. Boz, you're going to like this. I did the voice message to somebody recently. Bro, what app are you using? And I was like, that's my voice, man. Like that's how AI apped out we are. He thought me talking was an app. Like, man, there's no way he's doing this for everyone. That's crazy. But that's how I built my audience. That's how I initiated engagement. But it only give you 60 seconds on Instagram. Go and do that for the last 10 people that followed you on Instagram and just let me know how it goes. They're going to be like, damn, this is cool. And they're going to voice message you back. They'll probably screw it up a little bit. It'll be weird for a minute. And then you'll bounce messages back and forth. And all of a sudden, these people start chirping around on your posts. Oh, I love that episode. These are the people that are going to start showing up and commenting and engaging because you initiated it. And no one does that but me. So now you know my secret. All right? So we got to get off our high horse, sitting on our butt, and like, I podcast, therefore I am. Follow me, followers. I go out. I'm grateful for any opportunity. If there was just one of you sitting here, I know there's a million people over there. You guys are here. I'm focused on you. If there was only one person here, I'm focused on you. I don't care because I remember when 0 people were there for years. I had no idea what I was doing. I made $37 the first 3 years of podcasting. All right. I remember I sold a $37 course to a woman in Omaha, Nebraska. And I was like, online marketer. Thank you. So it's really hard. But the whole point of my brand and my show, Podcasting Business School, I've done all the screwing up that it takes. I've figured out how to reverse engineer all those screw ups, and I'll help you shorten that learning curve. Yes, ma'am. Let's go. Yes, I love it. See, isn't it nice to talk about something other than ketones today? I'm just saying. It's a little break from ketones. Let's talk about funnel building and email list. I've been waiting to talk about this all day long. I've been sitting there on that stage like ketones again. No, it's very important. This is KetoCon after all. So email list. First off, I set goals with my clients, like a 3-legged stool when it comes to brand building. I'm going to find your 1,000 true fans on your email list. So I want to get your list to 1,000 people. I want to find your 1,000 true fans with your show, 1,000 downloads per episode like I talked about, and the 30-day mark. Then I find one social media platform where you find your 1,000 true fans on there. All right? If we can do that, substantial things can happen with your business. So email list-wise, going back to the call to action question, that's a nice thing to fold in. In the health space, online challenges are amazing. Like so let me tell you how I made my first $3,000 launch, okay? Because I took that 37, that thing sold. I was like, somebody bought something, let's reverse engineer this. So I did a 5-day challenge that I called the Hello Abs Workshop. And I went live on Facebook. This is like 2018. I went live on Facebook for 5 days in a row, did a little ab workout. And then I was like, hey, if you like this, you're going to love my 28-day Hello Abs Challenge. And I sold it for $37. And I sold like 113 of these or something. And I made like 3,000, whatever. And so, boom, I was like, all right, that worked. I should be charging more. So I did another thing. It was like a body maintenance and recovery, like stretching and mobility. And I did a 5-day live challenge for free. Got the email, the price of admission was the email. And then I sold into a 28-day course at $97. Sold 100 and something of those, made over $10,000. And then I just started doing these $10,000 launches as often as I wanted to. I was like, well, damn, this works a lot better than trying to sell mushroom coffee for 5 cents. So that was one way to build your email list. Something I really love in the podcasting space is scorecards or quizzes. And I think you could do this with your like lifestyle hacks. So I have a podcast growth scorecard. It is my number one lead magnet. I gamified podcast marketing because that's what's the pain point in your zone of genius? Can we gamify it? Health space, like awarding people points for meditating, journaling, walking, getting away from the pounds lost and stuff like that, but like all the action steps and kind of gamifying the things that it takes. So I created a scorecard for podcast marketing. Go live on Instagram, 3 points. Post a carousel post on Facebook, 1 point per post. Guest on someone else's podcast, 5 points. And I go, all right, I need you to score 40 points per week to see your show grow. And they're out there doing these things, scoring themselves, and then they push forward and they're like, oh, I scored 100 points. I'm like, all right, go for 105 next week. Let's keep pushing forward. So that's my number one lead magnet, and then you can funnel into whatever you want from there. Now, I'm a big proponent of a weekly newsletter. So let me drop some quick knowledge on this because this really works, and again, will really work in the health space because people in the health space are going on a journey, and they're looking for community. They're looking for like-minded people, and they're looking for leadership. All right, so every Wednesday, we're good on time. If you get on my email list, if you sign up for like this workshop, which you all should, all right, you'll be on my email list. Every Wednesday at 5 whatever a.m., I get up, I do my cold tub, I go have some cold brew coffee, and I sit down and I write a love letter to my audience in real time. And I timestamp it. I'll say, I start off every Wednesday. This email was lovingly curated at 5:43 a.m. I just did the cold tub and my cold brew coffee. Here's what we're talking about this week. I just write it in the moment to them. I don't have a VA do it. I don't have a bot do it. I don't have Chatbot 5000 write it for me, all right? I legit sit down. I enjoy it. And a lot of people are like, email marketing, kill me. Like, you got to write the email that you would love, that you love writing and that you would love to be on the receiving end of. So I sit down, and I have a 70% open rate, which like 30% we're high-fiving, right? 70% open rate. I don't have a giant list, but it's about 2,500 people, all right? And I get feedback every single week. I'm talking about my kids and stuff in my real life. People know the names of my kids, and some people think that's weird, but I like to pull people in. They get to pull into my brand. So have email funnels, but again, personalize and send that personalized email touch each week. I'm really big on that. Is that helpful? Okay. Right. Okay, so keto carnivore, definite focus points, great keywords. Thumbs up on that. Seniors, empty nesters, which there could be some a little bit of blending there. So with the name formula, you want to take the keywords. I love to put the word tips and then just stick 4 and then whoever the identifying, and we can list more than one. That's the nice thing. I'm a big fan of a list of 3 things. So it could be like keto carnivore tips for seniors, empty nesters, and guys named Adam or whatever. I like that little 3, and it's a long title, but who cares? It's going to pull, it's like fishing with multiple lines in the water. It's going to pull all those groups in because people will search seniors, people will search empty nest, people will search carnivore, they'll search keto. All those terms are searchable on Spotify, on Apple Podcast, and people are going to see like, ooh, I identify with that because it's not just keto carnivore, it's keto carnivore for somebody like me. Does that make sense? So being very specific, that's going to make you stand out, and that's going to get your ideal listener listening to your show. Yeah, great question. Great question. So I think it's a great idea. Anytime you can be unique and new. So she's talking about actually filming while she's walking, like actually walking. My friend Carolyn has a show called Wellness While Walking, and she crushes it. Like really, she does great. And she's making money. So check that out. But I think sound quality, it needs to be to a certain level. So it's like imperceptible because you're filming on your earbuds and they're flapping against your shirt or something. Like you just have to make sure it's audible, and like people can hear you. And if there's background noise and stuff, if that's like the whole purpose of the show, like they get to be literally right there with you, I think that's cool. Yeah, go for it. Yeah. Yeah, and don't stress out about the audio, y'all. Like I know people, I'll give you another rule, all right? I know people that will quit podcasting was like, man, it took me 6 hours to edit this 30-minute episode. And it's like a part-time job, and they're so OCD about it, and they're like, but this little poppy sound happens in the background, and I can't figure out how to delete it. These 2 guys are just giving each other the evil eye over here. So somebody's doing this. Which one of you does that? That one. Okay. So here's my rule. Especially for you. You can build up to this. 1-to-1 ratio. If the episode is an hour, you're allowed to spend an hour editing it, no more. It's a 30-minute episode, spend 30 minutes editing, and then be done with it. All right? Now I'm super fast. I've been doing it for a long time, so I can kick the Adam voice in. I'm like Jay-Z. I'm like, I don't need any notes or anything. I just go. And very minimal editing. If one of my kids, every once in a while, they're like, Dad. I'm like, I'm recording. Dad. So I'll edit that out. So that's the only thing. And I just go, and you get more seasoned. There's less like lip smacks and and whatever. But that is a great little rule of thumb, the 1-to-1 ratio. Don't get too caught up in it. And just, unless you have an audio drama or true crime, or like one of those like Netflix series podcasts, then things need to be at a certain level. But if you're just inspiring and coaching, that's what people are showing up for. People show up to Podcasting Business School for my energy. And I'm bringing it. And it's the real, like I'm giving it to them real. I talk about my real download numbers. I talk about real money that I make. I'm screenshotting it and sharing it on Instagram. I'm like, here it is. Here's what I did for real. I call it pulling down my podcasting pants. I'm like, there it is. There are my download numbers. Nobody else shows you these things. They just tell you they do 1 million downloads and lie about it. I don't. Here's the real thing. Because too many people quit because they assume that's the reality, and it's not. I'll get you set up. Yeah. Hey, just message me on Instagram, and I'll give you 75% off, man. How about that? So, yeah. I got a thing called Download Growth Club. If you guys want to do it, just message me, and I'll hook you up. Yeah. But you have to start following my editing rules. No 6-hour marathon sessions. Now, some people love it. So, one of my podcasting jokes is like, it's kind of like Jeff Foxworthy. Does anybody know? Am I dating myself? I'm like, if you have more microphones than you have friends, you're a podcaster. All right. So that's some people enjoy the tech. Some people love nerding out on the audio. Then do that. That's cool. But if you're like, I'm going to quit because it takes me forever, then stop editing so much. We got to chill out on that. Cool. Are we going until 5:30? Is that the thing? 5:30. We got 10 minutes of potential Q&A. If anybody I'd like to make some more people money. Let's go. Yes. Yeah. Let me just walk through my process real quick. All right. So first, I've got an Evernote sheet with my content topics. I call it my idea bank. So for all my solo episodes, I have potential guests that I would love to have on the show. The thing that drives what I record is what I'm trying to sell upcoming. So I've been doing a lot of content. If you guys get into my show and look at the last several weeks of episodes, it's more for like newer podcasters. And you want to know why? Because I knew I was going to be coming here and doing this thing and talking to a bunch of newer podcasters. So I got smart after 1,000 episodes, and I'm like, I'm going to give these people the content so you guys can get in and start binging. I want to get you addicted to Adam, all right? I want you to get in there and start binge listening and, get into my world. So I map it out based off of where I'm speaking, what I'm promoting, what I'm selling, all right? So that now we have to get in and record. I use StreamYard. You can use Zoom. Everybody knows how to use Zoom now. That's a great starting place if you're going to do video and audio. If you're just doing audio, if you have a Mac, there's a program called GarageBand. You can go in there, hit the record button, let's go. Done. It's free with the Mac. So I use StreamYard, $20-something a month, 22 to 25. I can stream live in 3 locations. I go live on Facebook, I'll go live on YouTube and LinkedIn. It won't let me go, it doesn't connect to Instagram, which is that's more fishing for me, like putting lines in the water, where I would like somebody to have an experience where they're like, ooh, Adam popped on live. I follow Adam. What's he talking about? And they're like, you know what? He actually knows what he's talking about from the 5 seconds I listened to that. I do need to subscribe to his show or whatever. So that's more like just putting my face out there in front of people. The ultimate goal for me is to get in their earbuds and hit that subscribe button on the podcast player. Does that make sense? So I record. I will take the audio and video. StreamYard separates it for me. Zoom will do that as well. I have audio, I have video file. I will then go into GarageBand, the free app. I will add my intro. I'll add my outro. I make my little sandwich. If my kid comes in and running, screaming something, I'll edit that out. Otherwise, I'm kind of good. And it takes me about 15 minutes. Create the little podcast sandwich on GarageBand. Then you create that MP3 file. I'll take that, I'll put it in Libsyn. Libsyn is the distribution channel. All right, that's what makes it go from my computer to Apple Music. So I load it in Libsyn and I schedule it. I'm always 3 weeks ahead. 3 weeks in the can, as they say, because sometimes I get sick. Sometimes I don't feel like podcasting. Sometimes I'm, building a new course or something. So I like to be 3 weeks in advance on my content. That's another kind of a pro tip is, if you're going on a speaking circuit or, you're going and walking across America and you can't record a show, like there are things that happen and we need to be ready for that. And I don't want you scrambling at the last second and then you get embarrassed about it. I'm like, oh, I said I was going to record every week and now I didn't. And now I'm, you're kind of feeling shameful about it and then you kind of disappear. We don't want that to happen. So I schedule it and then I'll create social media assets. Once the episode goes live, I've got another rule, all right? It's my 72-hour marketing strategy. So my goal, the rule is 5 promotional assets in 72 hours after an episode releases. So when a new episode goes live, something magical happens in Spotify and Apple, the 2 biggest podcast player apps. If you drive traffic to their platform, they show your content to more people. So you should not, in my opinion, market it all week long. Market it hard for 72 hours. I've had clients do this, and they double their downloads in a month. All right, so instead of putting a little something out there every day for a week, put a lot out there for 3 days, because that's when you have the most algorithmic sweetness happening. So I'll go AM and PM posts. So AM post, I release on Tuesday. AM, I'll do a carousel. PM, I'll go live. AM on Wednesday, I'm doing my newsletter. PM, I've got an IG reel. AM on Thursday, I'm doing another IG reel or carousel or something. I'll put 5 assets out there, unique assets. That's not one video on 5 platforms. That is one asset. All right, we have to kick more assets. We need 5 of them, all right? And then it's promoted, and you're famous, basically. And now you're famous. I got your wheels turning now, don't you? Yeah. She's a marketer. I can tell you got a marketing brain. Stop procrastinating. Stop procrastinating. For real, great conversationalist, great question asker. You're curious naturally. That's called being a great podcaster. All right? So let's talk about when do we put affiliates in there. So I'm gonna tie in the whole health journey and podcasting business school. I created a concept that looks just like the food guide pyramid, but for podcast monetization. I know you all love the food guide, So let's think of it like a legit food guide pyramid that we would create with like meat and things like that at the bottom. So I created 5 different levels I call it the podcast monetization pyramid. And the bottom level, the base level, is what I call an anytime offer. Usually that's coaching. That's the easiest to sell soon off. So, high ticket coaching, whatever. All right. If people are going to work with me one-on-one, it's going to be $2,000 or above. All right. So that's the base. And people want that personal connection, easiest to sell. Then we move up into memberships. All right. Because that's still got you, but it's like group. All right. Then we move up into evergreen offers, where it's an online course, funnel build into an online course. Then we move up into like live events and live trainings or things like that. The very top, on the food guide pyramid, like the sugars, the little corner at the top, that's where I put affiliate marketing, sponsors. So that's good. And like you said, you're thinking about it in the right way. You're going to make a recommendation. Let's get an Amazon affiliate link. Let's get an affiliate link set up. You might as well. But it's not like this is our focus, because that's the very top of the pyramid. But if it makes sense, okay, let me give you an example. When I do podcast audits, I make notes on a Google Doc, and I send them to everybody that does a podcast audit. But there are other tabs on there, and one of the tabs are all my links for brand partnerships and affiliates. So I can get you discounts on StreamYard, on different podcasting tools and things like that. I just list all my affiliate links. I'm like 20% off here, 15% off there. So they all get that. There's a website platform called Kajabi that I love, and they give me 30%, and you're spending $200 a month. And I get month after month 30%. That's great. All right, I got a lot of people doing this. So I send those out there, but it's like a passive thing. Like, hey, here's all the things. If you want some discounts, go get it, and away we go. So if you're gonna make a recommendation in the coaching style episodes, there's a piece there. And yeah, let's bring in a few $1,000 a month off some affiliate stuff. And now you can look at 2 Crazy Ketos. You guys know Joe? I helped them launch. They came and sat in your chair last year. Joe corners me, and I help him launch his show, and they're freaking crushing it. Like big dollar sponsorship, growing their membership and stuff like that. But they also had 50,000 YouTube subscribers to start, which helps, all right? That really helps. So they shifted right into that right away. But they have a little bit of a bigger brand, all right? Is that helpful? All right. You need to start. You could do probably more than one interview a month, All right, time for, I think, one more. Last question. I saw somebody up here maybe. Yeah, repurposing content. This is a great use for AI, all right? So you get your audio file, do a transcription service. There's a million AI bots that can do this, and all of a sudden you've got it all transcribed out. That's a blog. Those are clips for your newsletter. Those are clips for social media, and you can repurpose all of that. Really cool stuff. So, again, if you guys have any other questions, I'll hang out a little bit. But I really do enjoy the interaction. And I'm not going to sit out there and hard sell you on anything. I won't even sell you on anything. Like, if you're going to want to buy something from me, you're going to have to be like my man over there. Like, hey, I want a discount on this thing. Like, all right, cool. Here we go. So, yeah, I'm going to friend you into submission. That's what I'm going to do. But I see myself in 2015 and a lot of you, and I know how frustrating it was. I was pretty much just too stubborn and dumb to quit. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I see these people making a lot of money and making a big impact. Like, I just kept trying and just getting hit over the head with the frying pan of truth. Like, this is not working. But I just kept showing up, and all of a sudden things started to click. And now, like I said, it's completely changed my life. And you can leverage this. It's a unique medium. It's not as much work as YouTube, which is nice. All right, really nice. And like I said, I work 3 days a week, pay myself 6 figures, I want to make more money, I can work a little extra if I want to. You know, I'm there for all the things for my kids. That's the most important thing to me. You know, so it's something that you can use to build the lifestyle. So I was kind of building this, and I was doing my gym at the same time, and all of a sudden I sold the gym and I sold my health podcast. I was like, wow, all of a sudden, dream life, dream business. Shit. It was so cool. And I feel like I'm at recess every day. I get to go and come and do things like this and inspire you all. So I'm in. All right. Once you attend something like this, you're known as a pod pal. So pod pals, I appreciate you. Thanks for coming here today and listening to me talk about podcasting at KetoCon. And thanks for hanging out on the main stage today. That was a lot of fun. And I'll be back for the Entrepreneur Mastermind in the morning. If any of you will be there, I'll be running the show on that as well. So